Hey, thanks for clicking on my video. Seb Henslow here, and I don't know about you, but for me it's getting harder and harder to find non-LHR GPUs, or rather, it's kind of getting easier and easier to find GPUs, just that they're mostly LHR nowadays. So that got me thinking, well, because you can still mine very much profitably on LHR GPUs, so which one is actually best for mining? So that's gonna be what I'm gonna try to answer in this video today. So let's jump into the computer, shall we? Alright, so for those of you who have been with the channel for a while, you know that I love a good spreadsheet. So that's exactly what I've got here. And before we get started, I'm just gonna say I've left a link to this spreadsheet in the description of this video. And what you can do is you can just go into the spreadsheet and click make a copy. And after you've done that, you can start editing it by yourself. So there are a few numbers here in the spreadsheet that I have sort of assumed based on what I could find. For example, as you can see here, we got like MSRP, like retail price for all of these GPUs, as well as what it seemed like they were selling for on American eBay. Now, what you can do absolutely is you can go in and you can edit these numbers to more fit what prices you can find these GPUs for, right? As well as your electrical cost up here. So just bear that in mind. And also just a second thing before we get started here is that, the numbers in the spreadsheet are gonna be based on current profitability as of today. Now, nobody can know the future, and please understand that and never trust anyone who says they know what is going to happen in the future, right? For example, mining could go away tomorrow. All crypto could completely crash and go to zero, or it could skyrocket and the numbers here are way too low. Who knows? Nobody can know. That's the whole point. So just take that into account. And there are also some upcoming events. Like, for example, I'm going to be talking a little bit about, Ethereum moving away from proof of work to proof of stake, aka not being able to be mineable anymore. And, that is a thing that will happen. But again, we cannot tell the future. We don't know. Currently, it's looking like that's going to happen early next year sometime. But it's been postponed before. It could be postponed again. The same goes for Ravencoin mining, which will have a halving coming up soon, which means that basically after the halving you'll be making half the amount of Ravencoin that you were before. And some of you might say, well, you're gonna make half the amount in terms of profits, but again, nobody can tell the future. And who are you to say that, like, maybe the halving leads to the price of Ravencoin completely skyrocketing and being 3 times as much, so you end up making more in terms of profit after the halving rather than making half. Who knows, right? I just feel like I have to make these disclaimers in the beginning of the video, because whenever I make a video like this, there are always little smarty pants in the comments going like, oh, but what about the halving? Well, you can't tell the future and neither can I. All we can do is go based on today's numbers. So thank you for sticking through those disclaimers. Now let's get into the actual interesting part of this video, shall we? So I have listed here all of the GPUs currently that can be LHR/R LHR, right? So we have the 3060 that's always been limited on Ethereum mining, but has recently gotten the full sort of LHR models, right? Like the full LHR limiter. Then we have the 3060 Ti, which exists both as non-LHR and LHR. However, it seems recently all of the shipments have been LHR. Same goes for the 3070. Can be both, but all recent models seem to be LHR. Then we have the 3070 Ti, which across the board, they are all LHR. 3080, same story as 3070 and 3060 Ti, can be both, but recently they seem to all be LHR. And then finally 3080 Ti, which are all LHR. Cool. So let's look at prices here. And MSRP, these are not MSRP as in the retail price, the recommended price for the Founders Editions cards, but rather what they seem to be going for roughly at Best Buy. which of course is still marked up, but not quite as bad as they are on eBay, which is our next column here. So I looked through the recent 2025 sold per GPU and sort of just got an average of roughly the prices these GPUs seem to be selling for on eBay. And these are what the LHR models were selling for. The non-LHR sort of full hash rate models were going for even more than this, of course. So I figured let's start by having a look at Ethereum mining, because while these are still, they are limited on Ethereum, the ETH algorithm, they can still very much profitably mine it, like especially with the new NB miner update that lets you unlock up to 70% of the hash rate, which I've got a video on, by the way. I got the link for that somewhere, or description or something. But these are sort of the hash rates you can get out of these cards based on, or like with that new NB miner update. So as you can see, like a 3080 Ti, like that's still crushing like 86 mega hash on Ethereum, which, in any world, that is still like a very efficient card on the algorithm, right? And so what I did then was, okay, well, what is the sort of price per mega hash for these cards, right? So for example, we can see here that a 3070 LHR, which gets around 43 mega hash on the Ethereum algorithm, that's quite expensive for the the eBay price here, which would get you around for each mega hash you're basically paying $25.58, and compare that to, for example, a 3080 Ti, where 1 mega hash costs you $20.93. You're basically paying, you're paying $1,800, but you're getting 86 mega hash. So 1,800 divided by 86 is $20.93. And so as we can see here, most of the GPUs are basically within the same ballpark, just in terms of dollars per mega hash. They're all around, between like $21 and $22 per mega hash, except for the two outliers, which is the 3070 LHR, which goes for a lot more, and the 3080 Ti, which is a little bit cheaper there at $20.93. And then we got the, just basic stuff, the power consumed at these hash rates, the efficiency. So where this comes into play is if you have very expensive electricity where you live. And then again, you can come in here in the spreadsheet and adjust your electrical cost here. But I've gone for the sort of seems to be standard 10 cents per kilowatt hour. And you can see here, basically you want this number to be high. So for example, we can see the 3070 LHR actually has pretty good efficiency for an LHR card at 0.33, and that would be mega hash per watt. But again, we can see the 3080 Ti is actually even better at 0.39 mega hash per watt. And we can actually see that the worst one is the 3060 LHR at 0.27 roughly. But they're all not very far from each other. I guess the 3060 is a little bit lower than the others, and then you have the 3080 Ti, which is a little bit higher than the others, but they're all roughly at 0.3, right? And here we can see how much electricity they consume per day, obviously, and then basically what that gives you in terms of profit per day, as in how much money is this thing making you per day after your electricity cost. And what's interesting now is this last column, which is return on investment. So we know how much money the GPU is making per day currently on like mining Ethereum. We know what we paid for it here, the eBay prices, right? So now how long would it take for this GPU to pay for itself, basically mining Ethereum using, you know, today's profitability of mining Ethereum, because we cannot predict the future. And as we can see here, if you were to mine Ethereum on these, the sort of quote-unquote best one would be the 3080 Ti, because that one will pay itself back in 250 days, which isn't bad. Like, ROI for a GPU, like below 200 is what I consider pretty good, you know. So just a little bit above there at 250 is, I mean, fairly decent. And as we can see, the 3070 Ti is not far behind at 258, and the same goes for the 3060 Ti LHR, and as well as the 3080 LHR. And then of course we got the worst one, which would be the 3070 LHR model. It's a shame I have one of those, right? But yeah, as we can see, there isn't that big of a difference here anyway. But the big thing here that we should consider is that Ethereum actually isn't the most profitable coin to mine on these GPUs even, which that's actually Ravencoin right now. So let's instead have a look at Ravencoin mining on these GPUs. So again, we got the hash rates here that you're getting, and you got the like dollar per mega hash that these cost. So that's a way to sort of compare them more equally, right? You know, you might look at this and say, well, of course the 3080 Ti is the best one because it's, you know, more than twice as powerful as the 3060. But then when you look at, you know, price per mega hash, you can see that, well, actually a 3070 Ti is actually more cost efficient, you know, because you sort of get more mega hash for your money, right? I hope you understand how that works, you know, compared to a 3080 Ti, that is. And as we can see here, the sort of the best deal in terms of mega hash for your money is a 3070 Ti, and then that is closely followed by a 3060 Ti and a 3060. So that sort of shifts things a little bit, but unfortunately, again, the worst one is our 3070 LHR model. Too bad, right? But or is it? Because then we jump over here and we take a look at our power, which gives us our efficiency, which again, our efficiency is basically mega hash per watt consumed. And so, as I said, this becomes more relevant the higher your electricity cost is, because the higher your electricity cost is, the more that eats into your profit. So then you want a GPU that can have as high a hash rate as possible, consuming as little, you know, power as possible, rather than just a GPU that can get the highest possible hash rate. So there are a few different factors to consider here, and they change depending on your circumstances, right? But so yeah, there you go. There are the efficiencies, and as we can see that the 3070 again is the most efficient out of these GPUs, and the least efficient is, well, it's actually the 3060, but not by much compared to the 3070 Ti and the 3080 LHR. And then let's move on to profit per day. So this is what I meant with, you know, Ethereum is actually not the most profitable coin to mine on these, because as you can see here, for all of the GPUs, if you compare them, you know, each of them make more money on Ravencoin compared to Ethereum. So as we can see here, a 3060 LHR would make $2.29 a day mining Ethereum after electricity cost, but it would make $3.09 a day mining Ravencoin. And the same goes for all of these. They're all making more money mining Ravencoin than they are Ethereum. And so if we look here, of course, the 3080 Ti is going to be the one that makes you the most money per day because it's the most powerful one, right? However, it is not the most cost efficient one on Ravencoin. So it was the most cost efficient one on Ethereum, you know, with the shortest ROI of 250 days. But if we look here, we can see that our 3070 Ti actually has an ROI of just 216 days. So if we have a look here, in terms of like return on investment time, the 3070 Ti looks really good on both algorithms basically. 258 days on Ethereum, which was the second best, and on Ravencoin it is the best at 216 days, which again, 216 days, I mean, like, I would consider that just kind of straight up a good return on investment time, to be honest. I mean, just comparing them here, we got again some outliers. Again, the 3070 LHR model is the worst one, and yeah, you got the 3080 Ti and the 3080 LHR, which are both pretty decent, around 235, both of them. 3060 and 3060 Ti, again, both pretty good as well. But what was interesting was just how far ahead the 3070 Ti was at 216 days. And so let's take these numbers now, the Ravencoin numbers that is, and let's put that into a practical example. So what I said here was, okay, what if you want to build a 250 megahash Ravencoin rig? What should you go for? You know? So what I've done is I've just taken the hash rates these get, and I see how many GPUs do I need to get 250 megahash mining Ravencoin, right? So you can see here for a 3060 LHR you need 11, for a 3060 Ti you need 9, 3070 you need 8, 3070 Ti you need 6, and so on, right? And then we just multiply our eBay prices here with how many GPUs we need, and then we get the total cost for the GPUs. So basically what this is what's the cheapest way to get 250 megahash on Ravencoin. And as we can see here, it's with 3070 Ti's at below $7,000, you know, because you only need to buy 6 of them, and because of where their price is at 1150, they are currently, you know, seeming to be the most cost efficient mining GPU out of all the LHR models basically. And just to, you know, push this a bit further, then is like, okay, so you let's say you spend this money to get 250 megahash a second on Ravencoin. 1 year from now, if profitability stays exactly the same, which the only thing we can guarantee is that it won't, right? But that's the only thing we've got to go off. And as I said in, you know, the beginning of this video, yes, Ravencoin will have a halving coming up, where the block reward, you know, becomes half of what it was, and that might lead to, you know, your profits being halved as well, or it might lead to the price of Ravencoin skyrocketing and your profits are 3 times as much. So let's not dwell too much on trying to predict the future, and let's just go based on what we have here. And the reason why this is so important and why I am sort of repeating this so much is because all these GPUs would be affected equally, like relatively to each other when it comes to changes in profitability. And as you can see, you can go in here and you can adjust the profitability here if you should so choose, but it's not gonna change the ranking of these cards, because like if the 3060 starts making half, then so does all the other cards, you know, because if profitability is half for all of the GPUs, so it doesn't matter in relation to each other. And so all of that to say, what would be the profit of these rigs after 1 year? You know, you're making your 15 cents per day per megahash, right? And you got 250 megahash a second, and this is what you paid for each rig, and this is the power consumption of each rig. So after taking the cost of the rig into account, after taking power consumption and like price of electricity into account, how much money have you made after 1 year? And as we can see here, the best one, or the one that has made you the most money, is the 3070 Ti rig, which will have made you $4,780. Closely, I should say, followed by the 3060 Ti LHR and the 3060 LHR model. And as we can see, the worst one, again, is the 3070 LHR model. And yeah, the 3080 LHR and the 3080 Ti are, you know, they're somewhere in the middle, I should say, right? But looking at these numbers and sort of trying to summarize everything is, I feel like the 3070 Ti never looks like a bad option. And kind of the same goes for the 3060 Ti. You know, it looks pretty good both on Ethereum and on Ravencoin. And then of course we have the 3080 Ti, which looks very good on Ethereum, but is somewhere in the middle on Ravencoin. And then of course, kind of in last place is the 3070 LHR, but with the caveat that, like, if you have expensive electricity, it might be the best option rather than the worst option. So, you know, take that for what it's worth, right? Alright, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave a few links in the description of this video to some of the LHR GPUs that I've been looking at getting for mining. And just, you know, for transparency, those will be affiliate links to Amazon, which means that the channel does get a little bit of a commission if you use those links at no extra cost to you. And I hope that if this video has been helpful to you, that you please give it one of these. I'd really appreciate that. And what you gotta do now is you gotta click on one of those videos on the screen, because this video is over. You can also click the picture over there on my face to subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate that. But yeah, go click on that next video and I'll see you there. Goodbye. Bye bye.